What's up YouTube, Day here from Zephyr Wargames, and as we come to the close of 2016, I thought it would be a good idea to look back at some of the cards from 2016. So I'm going to be bringing you our top 10 of 2016. I've also had people send in their lists as well, so we're going to go through some of their lists. We're going to go through some honourable mentions as well, because it was such a big year for Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2016 that I couldn't fit every single card that I would have loved to into our top 10. So this is down to personal opinion. This is down to a discussion with some of the other guys from Zephyr Wargames. We've just kind of gone with, we've tried to go with cards that changed the game. We tried to go with cards that the artwork, that it ticked multiple boxes. The artwork, the change of the game, the effect, and just like how feasible it is in multiple decks. So without further ado, I'm going to crack straight into our top 10 Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards of 2016. Okay, so at number 10, we have Blue Eyes Alternate Dragon. Now, we'll zoom in for you there. Now, the reason this is in the top 10 is because it brought back Blue Eyes. It made Blue Eyes, as much as I would like to have a Dark Magician card here, Blue Eyes kind of went to that extra step. It went a little bit further than Dark Magicians this year. The artwork on Blue Eyes Alternate is great. Its effect is also amazing for the deck. It brought a whole new level to the deck. It made it incredibly more consistent and incredibly more competitive. So that is why Blue Eyes Alternate Dragon is in at number 10. Next up, in number 9, is Quaking Mirror Force. Now, I know this might seem a bit of a weird one for some of you out there, and it might seem like, I mean, I love this card personally, but I generally think it's such a good Mirror Force. Now, Mirror Forces are kind of, they're harder to pull off these days because there's so much back row destruction. However, when an opponent gets hit, or when you get hit with a Quaking Mirror Force, you really do feel the pain. I mean, especially if your deck isn't a tribute deck, or if you've pushed for a full field to go for the game, and you get hit with a Quaking, you're locked out, you are absolutely screwed. And I think it's such a good card because, I mean, yes, it's a bit more damaging for the pure fact that if your opponent's monsters want to be destroyed, or if you can't clear them all in one turn, but it does slow them down massively. I mean, drowning, the biggest issue is you have to be attacked directly, which I think is too risky sometimes. Normal Mirror Force just doesn't do a huge amount, like you're destroying the monsters anyway. Sometimes it can be a nice surprise, and Storming Mirror Force, when it returned it all to the hand, obviously it wasn't in 2016, it was still a really good card, but I personally feel that Quaking Mirror Force, out of the Mirror Forces from this year, is a really good card. And the reason it's above Alternate is because it can just be played in any deck, and every deck. Next up, we have Cyber Dragon Infinity. Now again, the artwork is beautiful. When this came out at the start of the year with Patella Myth, every deck that was rank 4 was playing this deck, playing this card. Its effect to steal an attack position and add it as a material is amazing. The negate effect again is amazing, and just in general, the fact that it is, I know it's a little bit harder to make this time, which is why it's further along down the list, because not as many decks can make it. But at the start of the year, everyone could make it, and now the select few that can make it do make it. Next up is Totally Awesome. Now, I mean, you could possibly switch Infinity round with Toad. It really went down to just how they're kind of on par. I mean, because it's about the same amount of decks can make Toad, can make Infinity. I mean, with Toad, you need, either you make it pure or you make it with Bahamut Shark, which quite a lot of decks are doing. So it wouldn't surprise me if in 2017 we do see Shark get a hit, just to free Toad up a bit more and make it more accessible to those that want to play it just in general. So obviously Toad's negate effect again is great. The fact that it can steal it and set it, whether it be a monster, spell or trap, and then the ability to recycle itself or another water monster, again, just puts it that tad a bit above Cyber Dragon Infinity. Now on to number 5? Are we on 5? Yeah, we're on number 5. Sorry guys. So number 5, in the middle of our list, we have number 38, Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy. Now, the reason, again, it is very similar to Infinity and very similar to Toad. It's just a hell of a lot easier to make. The redirection effect, the fact that he's a bigger beta, the fact that he's cheaper as well, I've kind of taken that into account. And the fact that he's just generic rank 8, so he can be played in any rank 8 decks. just puts him above the rest. I know he steals spells and attaches them, which is pretty much a Cyber Dragon Infinity. He also has the negate effect, and just because he's more generic, puts him above the rest. Now into number 6, Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Now this card is going to be a hell of a lot more important in 2017, especially with DDDs. But just in general, with the way that Sulking came out, I mean, you could say Sulking should be in here because Sulking brings this guy out a hell of a lot easier. But this is the main Sulking target. So yes, Sulking can bring him out, but this card does the rest. This card is amazing. It's so hard to get off the board. I mean, I know Kaijus are a thing as well. Unfortunately, not many Kaijus came out in 2016 that were relevant to go into the list. However, Crystal Wing just does a hell of a lot, and I think he's going to be going on. Unless he gets hit, he's going to be doing quite a lot in 2017 as well. Right, now we come into our top 4. So just outside the top 3, we have Twin Twisters. Now this card, when it came out in Bosch back at the start of the year, was amazing. Like, it's still expensive as well now. It's still about £8 to £10 a card. It basically made people change their MSTs to Twin Twisters. Now at this moment in time, some people are going back to MSTs because not every deck has the ability to discard as much, or doesn't have the free hand. So with Twin Twisters, you're getting a 2-for-1 deal. If you want your stuff in the grave for future effects, then you get a plus off of that, and it's not that big of a negative. And then you'll pop in 2 back rows. Sometimes people use it for the 1, depending on how threatening the 1 back row is. It just doubles up your options, and I think it changed the game massively when it came out. Everyone was using it, and especially with pendulums, the fact you could Twin Twister and clear both their scales kind of helped people go on with that. Next up in number 3, we have Pot of Desires. Now, it's not a personal favourite of mine. I think the artwork's really nice. The draw effect, again, is really nice. The cost is really high. But the fact is, since this card came out in Dark Illusions, it's made a storm. It's been expensive. It's been played in every deck possible that plays 3 of everything. And 9 times out of 10, or it has about a 60-40 ratio. Like 60% of the times it might screw you over, but 40% of the times it will win you that game. And that's just really what puts it so high up in this list, is that it wins you games. And it wins you games in multiple decks. It gets you that extra draw to push your full-on combos. And it just, I mean, if it was my personal list, I'd be putting it further down the list. But at 3, I think that's kind of where it belongs in the Yu-Gi-Oh world. Now on to number 2. Now, it's only been out since Invasion Venom, but it has made such a big impact in the game. Dimensional Barrier. Now, the artwork is stunning. I absolutely love this artwork. The effect, again, is amazing. It's kind of one-sided because the format is go first. You lock your opponent out of their special summons. Now, it's less effective against decks that can do multiple type of extra deck summons, but still, it's such a good card that it absolutely, it puts its work in. It wins you games. It's not as expensive as Pot, so that's a nice little touch. The artwork, it's nearly a fully complete card for decks these days. And then number 1, you can't really leave this off the list. Now, the reason this is at number 1 is because it just puts in so much work. It's put in every deck. It's put in multiples in every deck. It stops so much. It's Solemn Strike. Now, I mean, this came out at the start of the year, so it's had the most playtime in the most decks all the way from start to finish of the year. And it will continue to do so. There are speculations that it may get hit in the ban list and put down to 1 like the rest of the Solemns. You could do that, yes, like not a massive argument against it. However, I don't think it's as great as Warning, as great as Scolding. Like, I don't think it needs to be hit to 1. I think you can leave it at 3 is fine. Or, probably put it down to 2, but, not many people play it above 2, 9 times out of 10 anyway. However, the card of paying 1,500 life points was talked about during 2015. It's played massive parts in 2016, and it will continue to do so in 2017. So its span is just going to be amazing. Its effect is incredible. You don't get much better than this as a generic trap card that can be played in any deck. And in my personal opinion, in the group's personal opinion, this is probably the number 1 card of 2016. So that is our Yu-Gi-Oh! Top 10 of 2016. So now there's probably some of you screaming at your TV sets like, why didn't you put this in? Why didn't you put that in? Well, like I said before, there were so many cards that came out in 2016, we couldn't fit them all in. So what I would like you guys to put as your top 3 in order in the comments below. But before we get to that, I'm going to do some honourable mentions. Now, the honourable mentions are both going to be for effect, for artwork. They're going to be on the exact same things. So, Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. Amazing artwork, amazing effect. It just doesn't get used as much as it should be, and it's not a generic card. Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon added that extra level to Blue Eyes. Not as much as Alternate, which is why it didn't make the top 10, but still a very, very good card. Utopia the Lightning provided the people the ability to rank 4 into a bigger beat stick, Armades, and to go over those boards that they couldn't really clear. A special mention from Will is the Super Quantums, so red, blue and green. Now, purely, I kind of agree with this as well. It was amazing to have a deck came out that was like Power Rangers. I mean, I grew up with Power Rangers. I think 9 times out of 10, most people have grown up with Power Rangers. And, you know, it was really nice to get an art type out like this. It wasn't the best, it wasn't the meta, it wasn't strong, but it was amazing. It was really, you know, it was a nice kind of thing. And obviously the Megazords and stuff like that it came with. A personal one is a Bon Illusion Magician. Now, you can count this as any Dark Magician stuff. You can count it as Circle, as Navigation, because the artworks are perfect. But when this was released as a promo, I was so happy that I wanted to get hold of it, and then it started spiking in price. So I was really, really happy when they've re-released this. And if in 2017 we get the Illusion Magician, the new level 6 monster, Apprentice Magician, and we get Girl, I doubt we'll get Girl, but if we get her, I would be over the moon. So this is the generic, you know, Dark Magician out. You put this card, you always go into this card in your XYZs. It's an amazing card, its effect is incredible, and especially when it couples with the Circle and the rest of the stuff, it's brilliant. Tractrix Rafflesia, I think the artwork is absolutely stunning, the effect is great, and, you know, it's a really nice cheap card, and I love it in a rank 4 deck. Dark Law Rebellion. Now, you can pretty much say this is any Dark Law card. The only reason this pipped the rest to being put into this honourable mentions list is the fact of the artwork. I think the artwork is amazing, it's absolutely incredible, and the effect isn't bad too. Next up, Fairy Tale Snow. Again, really like this card, it's a nice card. It's not played in every deck, which is why it doesn't really make it into a top 10 list. It's just an honourable mention for a cheap, common card that can save you in games, can win you games, can turn the tables, basically. DeLong, first of the Yangzing. It was really nice to get some old school support this year, especially Red Eyes as well, Dark Magicians, Blue Eyes, so on and so forth. And DeLong did really, really well. It's a really nice card, it really helps, it's a generic tuner, and it really helps the Sulcan plays. It can also help with just general Yangzing plays. I was playing someone the other day, and the plays they pulled off with DeLong was incredible. I would mention I haven't put any Monarchs in this list, but they do deserve an honourable mention. I mean, at the start of the year, they were a bit of a scummy deck, but they were like Aether, Pantheism, Domain, just the whole deck in general was really, really good. Next up we have Blackwing Gofu, the Vague Shadow. Now this card should, there's no reason it should be a common. It should be so much higher in rarity. It's such a good card. It helps Sulcan plays. It helps in Metaphors massively. It's a really, really nice card, which is why it deserves an honourable mention. Next up we have some Metaphors. So straight away we've got Metaphors Fusion, because it's a great card. The shuffle effect, the activation effect is all great. Metaphors Mithrilium, because the bounce effect is awesome. Metaphors Alkahest, you could pretty much put most of the Metaphors deck. It was really nice that before Invasion Venom, the deck was relatively budget. Everything was, you know, commons and rares and stuff like that, and to pick up really, really cheap. It got a bit more expensive when Alkahest and Mithrilium came out, but again, they're just such a good deck. It's a fun deck. It's starting to wear a bit thin. It's starting to get to the end of its lifespan. Not that it will, I'm not saying it's going to get hit or anything like that, but with DDDs coming out, that might be the next step. So most of these cards as well have been honourable mention. They were put down on lists by loads of people from the War Games. We've got like Donald has put down Infinity, Crystal Wind, Ghost Reaper. We had Carl, Infinity, Alternative and Ixchel. Danny, Buster Blader, Buster Dragon, Buster Blader, Destructive Swordsman, Buster Whelp. We got Marshmallow with Crystal Ring, Lights. So Crystal Ring, Light Showers, Cardian, and number 24, Draculus the Vampiric Dragon. I think the artwork is incredible on this. We got Starfish with Ghost Reaper, Eternal Soul, Metaphase Fusion. We got Michael with Strike, Toad, and Crystal Wing. We got Peter with Twin Twister, Crystal, and Solemn Strike. We got Matt with Toad and Dynamis in general, because obviously they came out in Bosch as well. We had Brad with DeLong, Crystal Wing, and just generally other cards like that. So we got obviously Dark Lord Ixchil, artwork amazing, the whole deck again. So it's kind of like deck cores that kind of came out in this year. Eternal Soul because of what it added to Dark Magicians. And then Luke as well plays Felgrand, mentioned Return of the Dragon Lords and the Felgrand card that came out with this, the Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand. Because that, and obviously Artbrave as well. Just because of what it added. I mean, I know it wasn't massive, it wasn't groundbreaking, but it did add quite a bit to the game, especially Return of the Dragon Lords. So there are honourable mentions. There's what people have sent in to me. By all means, in the comments below, please put what your top 10 were, or well, your top 3. Let's go with your top 3, because we'll try and keep that nice and simple. Now, that was our top 10, so we'll give you a quick recap of the top 10, and just so you can see what we had. So we had Alternate Dragon at 10, at 9, Quaking Mirror Force, at 8, Cyber Dragon Infinity, 7 was Totally Awesome. No, sorry, 7 was Infinity, 10, 9, 8 Infinity, 7 Toad, 6 Hope Harbinger, 5 Crystal Wing, 4 Twin Twister, 3 Pot of Desires, 2 Dimensional Barrier, and number 1 of the year 2016 was Solemn Strike. So that is our top 10. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to put in the comments below what your top 3 of the year were. You don't need to explain it, but if you do, by all means, just giving a quick explanation. I've tried to keep this as, I mean, if I had my personal opinion, it would be 10 just Dark Magician cards. It would be new artwork, it would be anything. But this year was massive for Yu-Gi-Oh! It will be massive in 2017. You've got Junishishis, you've got DDDs, you've got new Pendulum decks coming out, you've got just more support in general for other decks. It's going to be, you've got lawn mowing, return of certain decks that like to mill. It's going to be a very, very, very fun year. And I hope you guys will join us on that journey of 2017 like you have with 2016. So we appreciate all your support, guys. Thank you so much for an amazing year. Our year comes in the middle of January, our year anniversary. So thank you for everything, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Big thumbs up on the video. And as always, guys, from all of us as Zephyr Wargames from 2016, happy dueling and have a very, very good new year. If you like that video, why not check out our other videos available? We've got more deck profiles, pack openings, and of course duels. And don't forget to click on the most important button of all, that subscribe button, right in the bottom left hand corner.